My name is Denise Antonini, and I'm currently living in Oakland, California. I first started yoga about 20 years ago. I was in graduate school studying health psychology. So it was a lot of work with mind-body connection. And I was on my way home one day and was sideswiped in a car accident. So I ended up at the doctor's with a back injury, and he suggested that I try yoga. So I started yoga as a way to find some relief in my physical body. And then as I became a practicing psychotherapist, it became a way for me to get out of the office at a decent hour. And after about 10 years, I started to teach because I had the desire to learn more. And I think that it helped to give me another set of tools to give to my clients and my students. I was working in Washington, D.C. with a full-time clinical practice, and I'd gone to school in California, and I knew that I was always going to come back at one point. And so my husband had a job opportunity come up in Southern California, and we decided to relocate, and I was going to get back to what I get excited about in studying wellness and prevention. And I think that California was a really open-minded forum for that. And so we started a yoga studio in Orange County. And I feel like I had the opportunity to work not with just individuals one-on-one, but on a larger scale. And so while I'll still work with people individually that come to me, I feel like I'm able to offer tools up to a larger population. And I feel that that way I'm able to reach more people and offer the things that I've accumulated in terms of learning all these years. I think that walking into a yoga class is like walking into a doorway where there are infinite possibilities that open up. And so you might stumble upon a class and notice that you feel better by the end of it. But then you notice that the more that you come to class, the more that you practice, the better you feel in between each time. And so while we all come in with our personal histories and our stories, yoga gives us a place to really get curious about ourselves, to come back to the things that we need to work on, and to show us where we get frustrated with ourselves, to inform us about how we respond to the world. And I think it's different from other activities in that way, in that a good yoga class doesn't let you check out. It asks you to check in. And as a result, we find ourselves working through some of the difficult things that we've experienced. We find ourselves being able to rewrite the story so that we can be at peace and are better able to live in the present moment. I find that my practice is working and feels most effective when I'm able to connect with my breath and really be present in whatever I'm doing. And that might be making dinner. That might be giving one of my children a hug. But to really set everything else aside, all the busyness in my head, all my plans, and experience the here and now. As a woman who owns 2 studios and teaches yoga and is raising 3 children, there are different directions that I'm pulled in every day. But I find that my yoga practice helps me to achieve a sense of balance and a sense of well-being that I'd have a hard time connecting with otherwise. And so I notice subtle things on my mat, whether it might be holding a balance pose that's typically easy, or that I'm holding my breath and didn't realize it. And those little things that I have a chance to explore on my mat let me know about how I'm doing with juggling the multiple roles that I have in my life. So I find that it's useful to come back to on a daily basis so that I can really check in with myself and not just push that time aside, because it is what restores me and what helps to sustain me as I manage the multiple roles that I do. My husband and I own 2 studios, one in Orange County and one in the East Bay of Northern California. And I feel very fortunate in that we were able to build a community. We were new to the area, and we're really able to draw in like-minded people. And while I have a personal practice and do find benefit in sort of retreating into that, I also find that there's a different energy to being able to join a group of people so that we remember how connected we are, so that we realize that at the end of the day we're all the same, that the differences between us are random, and that we're made up of the same energy and the same light. And I think that coming together to practice, whether it be online or in a class, that's what helps to keep us grounded and reminded that we're all the same. As the studio owner and person who decides on the programming for our studios, I have the opportunity to bring in amazing teachers and have been really fortunate to study with some teachers who have really been groundbreaking with the work that they do and how long they've been practicing. And I think that it's important to stay connected and inspired as a student so that you can be effective as a teacher. And so Annie Carpenter continues to inspire me. Richard Rosen inspires me. Judith Lassiter is someone who has been such a pioneer in yoga, and I have a deep and profound respect for each of them. One of the things that I find really helpful in managing the different roles that I've taken on is to be able to recognize that much of what we experience is temporary, so that just as a thought might pass through my mind, the way that I feel passes through my mind, the demands that are placed on me are temporary. And that knowledge helps to ground me in the here and now so that I don't get stuck in telling myself a story about how long this could go on or how difficult this might be and will I ever see the other end of it. And I think that that appreciation for the present really makes me value the life that I live, because I recognize that it's a finite period of time and want to be able to feel like I'm truly living deeply rather than looking back one day and wondering what all happened. I have always been excited about being able to help people have a greater quality of life. It's something that I was passionate about way back when I started graduate school, and it continues to be with me today, in that there's a place where it's not just the absence of being sick, but I think that there's a space for feeling good and being healthy that we don't often think about. We tend to think about the things that we don't want in our lives, and we don't want to feel this way, or we don't want that anymore. But I think it's really empowering to start to think about the possibilities of what we do want. And I get excited about helping people to create that vision, to start to imagine it, and then inspiring people in knowing that if they can envision it, they have the ability to make that a reality.